Last week we all took part in our Gold Duke of Edinburgh expedition. Most people do a walking expedition in the Lake District.
We did ours in sea kayaks between some Scottish islands.
Namely Lismore and Mull.
Where Ballymorey is.
We left with Crane Larris from Birmingham
on Friday the 4th of September.
We are packing the minibuses. I'm a little bit terrified.
It took about 9 hours to get to Scotland.
We stayed in the hostel for the night before our expedition on Saturday.
We are in Scotland in a hostel. Today we start our Gold DofE sea kayaking expedition. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
We were originally going to start at Loch Etive
and paddle over 4 days through Loch Linney over to where our finish point is near Tobermory.
We ended up reversing the trip because of a wind, so we got on a minibus and drove up to Glenmore Bay.
This is the spot that we're kayaking from. We drove here and it took us 5 ever.
We unloaded the boats from the trailer and we packed them with all our food,
clothes and camping equipment.
Packing boats sucks.
We actually hate it.
And it took us a while.
And after all the time we spent packing boats,
we were late getting on the water.
We paddled for a few hours on the first day.
There was a fish farm that we paddled right up to.
But we were told, not so politely, to leave.
Apparently, you're not supposed to go anywhere near fish farms. My mistake.
We covered as much distance as we could before splitting off from the other DofE group and finding a place to camp.
We made it to the spot where we're going to camp tonight. It's actually really beautiful here, but it's proper windy.
We wild camped for the first night, which means we weren't at a campsite.
No toilets, no showers.
No flat places to pitch the tents.
But the great thing about wild camping is that there are no rules.
That meant we could have a fire.
The next day we had a full day of paddling ahead of us, so we got on the water as quickly as possible.
We've got to be on the water by 9:30. We've just about managed to get on the water.
We paddled southeast between the island of Mull and the mainland.
At 1, we stopped to eat lunch.
And we heard some interesting things on our VHF radio.
We've stopped here for lunch, and on our radio channel we keep hearing some chatter. It turns out that a ship like over there is sinking, like a passenger ferry. It's on fire and everything, and they just issued abandoned ship. Do you want to steal a ferry? I mean, it's going, so we might as well have it. Yeah.
They abandoned it, they don't want it.
Later in the day, the wind picked up a lot and we were really worried that we wouldn't be able to make it from the coast to Mull because it was so strong.
So we pulled up at a beach on the mainland.
We decided to make the crossing despite the wind. That night we stayed at the world's nicest campsite.
And we had showers.
It really made up for the night before.
When we got there and tried to set up the tent, some things were
wet. You got our inner wet. So what happened was, right, I realized that the inner was like completely soaked. So I tried to hide it from Ollie because you didn't put it in a dry bag, Ollie. It was in a bin bag, which wasn't tied up that well. Tons and tons of seawater got into the bin bag. When I got it out, it was just dripping wet. So I brought the inner to reception and sort of just asked, right, we're gonna have to sleep in this like wet tent tonight. Is there a way to dry it? And the kind woman at reception kindly let me use her personal tumble dryer. He dried it in a tumble dryer, and tumble dryers melt tents. This guy is the luckiest person to have ever done DofE.
Okay, morning of day 3. It is 7:20. I had a pretty good night of sleep. I don't know about these guys. It was like, today we would have had a massive day of kayaking, but we kayaked 5 kilometers, something like that, further yesterday so we could get to this nice campsite. We're going on the swing.
So we took down the tents, packed everything on our boats, and we started paddling to Duart Castle, which was about 20 minutes down the coast.
I did a little sketch of the castle, and then we got back in the kayaks and headed off again.
Lismore is a long, thin island on Loch Linney.
The crossing was actually really easy because the sea was so calm.
For me, paddling around Lismore was my favourite part of the entire expedition.
The sun was out, there wasn't a cloud in the sky.
It was definitely a high point.
We camped that night on a little sheltered bay on the mainland.
As we were pitching our tents, we realized that our tents were literally right next to a graveyard. That night, we basically slept in a graveyard.
We're going to bed for the final night. What do you think of DofE so far already? I can't put that in.
The next day was our final day of paddling.
Morning.
They want you to think it's all different. All of these wayfarers taste the same. It's the same garbage in a bag.
We had to cross Ardmutlish Bay and paddle all the way down to Connell before getting through the Falls of Laura.
We had to paddle as fast as possible across the bay.
Luckily we made it through at slack water, but as we were paddling up the loch, we were pushing against the tide.
The only thing that kept us going was the thought that we were only a couple of hours away from passing our expedition for Gold DofE.
And that we did.
At 2:30, both groups arrived at the finishing point at Loch Etive.
We have officially finished our Gold DofE expedition. I think that might have been the hardest thing I've ever done. This is Loch Etive behind me. Wait, how are you guys?
Oh man, it feels so good to finish.
Wear clean clothes that are dry.
It's like, so nice.
It's the minibus!
Even though it was tiring,
It was 100k of kayaking.
And we were camping the whole time.
And packing boats sucks.
And energy bars got boring really quickly.
but at least I had Yazoo.
Okay. We really enjoyed the entire trip.
We saw seals,
We saw some incredible views of the surrounding mountains.
Plus we saw some dolphins.
and we gained appreciation of all the little luxuries that we couldn't get by without at home.
Hairdryers.
Wi-Fi.
My mom's cooking.
Corn.
My bed.
None of us regretted doing the expedition.
Even though we got back to school from Scotland for 1 a.m.
We literally went to school twice in one day.
My favourite part of the trip was definitely seeing the dolphins.
My favourite part of the trip was sketching all of the buildings and the surroundings in peace and quiet.
My favourite part of the trip was probably Lismore.
My favourite part of the trip was the KFC on the way home.
My favourite part of the trip was where I made chopsticks. I forgot my cutlery, so I borrowed Ed's knife to cut away the bark of 2 sticks and made chopsticks.
Anyways, that's about it. Thanks for watching.
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 So Ed's was the last one that we shot, so we are completely done now. I just thought I'd say that.
Job done.
Cheers, Ed.
Últimamente no siento la derrota, es como si viviera en mí. Me siento el prota de una peli sin final feliz. Camino calles aunque me falte el aire, le sigo el baile a la muerte después de que el cielo recaiga gris.